So as Seth said, this is a COVID-based story, and it's based in Canada, and it's right at the beginning of the pandemic. And has happened in a variety of places, not just Canada. It got, at the beginning, one of the places where things were hardest hit was the long-term care homes. And so this is a story of someone who, in the midst of lockdown, where here the long-term care homes were really locked down, absolutely no visitors allowed, at least in the first phase then. But in some places, staff weren't showing up, and it was not a good scene. And this is a story of a son who goes in to rescue his father, in effect. And the one thing you need to know is that the way he gets in is by going one night and seeing a smoker go out for a break and leaving the back door open. And he goes in again the next night, or not goes in again, he goes in the next night having seen that guy do that. And the guy's name is Jerry. And I just say that because it comes up in what I'm going to read. So I'm about halfway through the story where I'm going to read from, and they're back at, Billy is the son, they're back at Billy's house, and it's on I'm starting on page 117. At the bathroom door, Billy took the walker from his father and gave him his cane. "Just a few more steps, Dad," he said. His father held his cane in his right hand and stepped into the bathroom, putting his left hand on the vanity for support. Billy stepped in behind him and suddenly realized he hadn't thought through how he was going to make this work. The bathroom was small. The two of them standing together made it difficult to maneuver. Billy stood behind his father and reached up to his shoulders. "Let's get this off you first." His father straightened his back to allow Billy to pull the fleece jacket back and down. They were standing one behind the other, only a few inches apart. As Billy lifted the fleece jacket off his father's shoulders, he saw their reflection in the mirror over the sink on his left. He saw how alike they were. The same length of neck rising from a long back, the same round-shaped ears, the same high forehead. The fabric of the fleece his father was wearing was thin, and his trousers hung loosely off his hips. Under the fleece, his father wore a short-sleeved shirt buttoned up with the holes mismatched to the buttons, so that it hung slightly skewed. Billy tossed the fleece into the sink and reached around his father from behind to unbutton the shirt while his father leaned heavily against the vanity. Billy had trouble with the buttons. They slipped this way and that as he tried to maneuver them with his gloved fingers. His father dropped his cane and swiped his hand at him. "Stop doing that, Dad. I'm doing my best." Billy managed the buttons finally and slid the shirt off. He reached around again to the top of his father's trousers. When he undid the button, the trousers dropped straight to the ground. "Have to sit." His father suddenly shuffled forward and swayed. The loose pants at his ankles slid around his feet. The cane on the floor was in the way. Billy grabbed at his father's arms from behind. His father kept moving forward. The two of them jostled and shifted together, his father's body moving with a momentum neither of them could control. Okay, here, sit on the toilet." Billy let go of one of his father's arms and shoved his hand forward to flip the lid down, just before his father's body twisted and landed heavily on the toilet seat. His body continued to tilt to the side. Billy grabbed his father's arm and pulled back. "Ow!" His father turned his head to glare at Billy. "Sorry, I was just trying to keep you from falling." "Leave me alone." His father kicked his feet forward, but the pants were still tangled around them. He lost his balance and tilted sideways again. Billy grabbed his father's arm to steady him. This time he noticed how little muscle was there and how easy it was to feel the bone. "Stop it." His father swatted at Billy and kicked his legs back and forth. "Dad, this is going to happen. If you just let it happen, it will go a lot easier." "Ha!" The air in the bathroom felt thick, and Billy's mask made him feel like he couldn't take a deep breath. "Honestly, Dad, I was hoping not to have a fight." Billy paused. He tried to force his breath to slow down. "But I want to be clear. You have to have a shower. I'll try to make it as easy for you as possible. Forget it. His father's words were getting clearer. It was as if his lips had remembered how to work around the dentures. Or maybe Billy was just getting the hang of how his father talked. Billy sighed. He scooped the clothes out of the sink and dumped them in the plastic bin. He stood up straight and looked at his father. Is there something you're worried about, Dad? Some problem about having a shower you're not telling me? No. Okay, then let's get it done. No. Billy fought an urge to threaten his father with a timeout and start counting backwards from 3, techniques they used when the girls were little. He wondered what Jerry would think if he showed up at the front door of the care home this evening, pushed his father and his walker through the sliding doors, and walked away. His father stirred. Didn't ask for this, you know. Billy responded without thinking. Hey, you think I did? I'm just trying to do the right thing here. His father turned his head toward Billy, but didn't lift it. No, you're not. His father's voice was louder this time. The words traveled sideways out of his mouth. For a split second, Billy wasn't sure he heard correctly. But even before that possibility fully registered, Billy felt his blood rise from his chest and rush to his head. He yanked the mask off his face and dumped it into the sink. What do you think I'm doing here? What gives you the right to say what I think? When did you ever once pay attention to what I thought? Billy felt like the blood in his head was gathered into a ball and was pulsing deep in his brain. Never. That's the answer to that question. Never. His father shook his head back and forth, staring at the floor. He was visibly taking a breath as if in an effort to get words. Billy kept going. He had never in his life raised his voice to his father, but now he stood over him and yelled.